Anytime marathon.
Anytime marathon.
Thank you for having me. And let's make it a bit more technical. I'm actually a bit of a nerd, so I try to make it a bit more practical. But today, I'm going to tell you something about data. And data is actually a bit of the new gold, I would say. It's a very powerful tool. And while at Dame, we have the privilege that we have access to a lot of data because we have access to all our connected vessels. And today, I will tell you about the potential of our connected vessels. Gathering data at Dame started approximately 7 years ago. It started with Dame Triton. It was an initiative from the R&D, but it rolled out to the rest of the company. And actually, as I said, it's a privilege to have the data. And you can imagine that we have quite a lot, because we have around 15,000 sensors installed per vessel, and we have more than 600 vessels connected. Most important, we have around 40 ferries connected, under which 25 are either hybrid or electric. And that's my focus for today. Last 7 years, we were exploring the use cases for data. And we wanted to check how we can use the data to improve our design capabilities. But we did several use cases. So for example, we measured emissions on board of the vessels, but we also supported some operators by reducing the fuel consumption. Another use case is we checked whether the operators are able to sail in time, on schedule, and if not, we could support them with that. And like I said, my focus is more on the electric vessels today. So later on in this presentation, I would like to highlight multiple use cases related to that. However, I owe you some background information. Because to understand what's the value of our data, you need to know how we design the battery system on board. And actually, there are two main functional requirements: the battery lifetime and the operational profile. And from those two main functional requirements, you result with a lot of system specifications. So among others, we have, of course, the battery capacity, the operational limits, but also the design of the power management system and the design of the cooling system, and many others. But keep in mind that those two functional requirements are very strongly related to each other. And I will explain them one by one. The operational profile. When we start designing the battery system of a vessel, we need to know how the vessel operates. And actually, the operational profile is just a multiplication of the required time per event and the required power per event, which gives you obviously the required energy per event. And by event, I mean a part of the operation. So, for example, the departure, transit, or arrival. And if you sum the required energy per event for the whole operation, then you get the energy per cycle. And actually, the vessel should operate according to this operational profile for several reasons. One of the reasons, obviously, is that the battery capacity is based on this operational profile. So going far beyond your operational profile might result in too little battery capacity. But there's also another reason to stick to it, and that's the battery lifetime. So if you exceed the operational profile, so the energy per event, frequently, then this has an impact on your battery health. So there are some indicators of the battery health, which tell you, okay, how are you doing? What's the expected battery lifetime? And those indicators are, for example, the temperature, the energy per cycle, or the charge of discharge rates, the C rates. But the thing is that those indicators, it's great to have it, but on its own, they are not really telling you how you're operating your vessel. And that's the thing we have at Damen. We have Damen Triton, and it combines the sensor data from all the relevant ship systems. So it's not only measuring the temperature of your battery, for example, but also measuring, well, your propulsion power, the battery room temperature, and many others. So this enables us to draw the cause-effect relations. It helps us when there's a problem, so we find the solution, but it also helps us to improve the design. And as I said, we have found some use cases lately, and I would like to highlight some of them. I would like to highlight a use case in which we supported the client to sail the operation in time, and I would like to highlight some use cases which are related to batteries. Sailing in time, it's important for all the operators, we know that. But when operating an electric vessel, there is always a balance between sailing according to schedule and the energy consumption. Because other than for sailing a non-electric ferry, you cannot just increase your speed to make up the time you lost during an event, because that has an impact on your energy consumption. So for this case specifically, during a trial, we found out that the operator was not able to make the schedule in time. But luckily we had the data. So we used the data and analyzed it to check what was going wrong. And we found out that the time that they used for the events was different than we designed in our operational profile. So they took longer for acceleration and deceleration, and the speed was lower than expected. So we were together with the client tuning this a little bit and keeping in mind always the energy consumption. It led to a gain in time, and in the end, the client was able to sail it in time without exceeding the designed energy consumption. Then we have another use case, which we had the client who had the desire to expand the battery package. So they have hybrid ferry sailing, and they were wondering, but how much batteries do I need to sail my operation full electric? We were lucky because the hybrid vessels are sailing already for a while, and we have a lot of data. So from this data, we could retrieve the energy consumption per event, and we could perfectly design the operational profile. So we exactly knew what the vessel was doing. And that enabled us to make the best battery system for the full electric operation. The last use case I would like to discuss with you is battery monitoring. And maybe it sounds like very obvious that you monitor your batteries, and we do, and actually suppliers also do. But as I said, we are monitoring more than only the battery indicators themselves. We are also monitoring the battery room temperature. It indicates whether our system is working properly. It indicates whenever we expect some problems, and we learn a lot from it, because we also use this data to improve our designs. And then another indicator for the battery use was the depth of discharge. If you exceed the depth of discharge as it has been designed frequently, you might not have the same battery life. So we warn the operators, and we tune a little bit their operation as such that the battery lifetime will be made. These are some of the use cases, but I'm sure that there are many others. And I would love to, in the coming few years, unlock the further potential of our data. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Please, no, this is so interesting. Can I? It seems like shipbuilders are maybe moving into a new phase now. It's not build and forget. It's build and then be a partner to the client throughout the lifetime of the vessel. That is something new, isn't it?
I think it's quite new, yes, indeed. It's a bit what's happening with your electric vehicles already. They are using it a lot, and we tend to do it as well. So that's, I think it's new, and we also have the service organization who makes use of this.
And you mentioned all the sensors that are on the board a vessel today already.
Yeah.
Are they being used enough by the operator themselves, you think, or what is the potential there?
I don't think they are used enough right now, but I think we are the ones who need to facilitate it, because there are so many. It's like, yeah, what to find. So we are guiding them a little bit, working on a dashboard to present all the sensor outputs, which is relevant for that client.
Okay, thank you very much, Danke.
You're welcome.
So please, let's move on to.
Hi everyone, hi. It's an honor to be able to speak to you all at my very first Interferry. It's a pleasure to be here. I think Telenor Maritime is better known for you as a provider of world-class connectivity at sea. But today, we are looking beyond connectivity toward unlocking real insights, intelligent automation, and new business value through better use of data. So let's look at what the industry is asking for and why it's not always easy to deliver. The goals are clear. We want smarter operations, greener fleets, we have a younger workforce that expect more mobile devices on board, and we want faster innovation. But the reality? Well, legacy systems and disconnected data often stand in the way. And this is where the next wave of maritime innovation will be won. Through smarter systems, empowered crews, and AI that understands the real world. And after looking at the previous slide with the challenges, I think it's clear. AI is not just another tool, it's a force multiplier. But apart from helping me creating beautiful illustrations for this presentation, AI will play an important role in improving quality and efficiency of operations on board the ship. Let's take predictive maintenance as an example. The ship sensors, they collect vital data like engine temperature and vibration, as described in our previous talk. The AI modules, they process the data in real time, spotting early signs of issues and predicting failures. And the maintenance teams are then receiving alerts on their mobile devices before the breakdowns, allowing timely repairs and reducing unnecessary servicing. And the result is then we get less surprises, reduced downtime, and we get better decisions through human-machine collaboration. So AI offers smarter decisions, faster operations, and greater efficiency. Yet, in maritime, that promise can feel out of reach. Because if we look at the core, the problem, there's some initial problem here. Because if we look at AI as the engine, then the data is the fuel. And right now, most maritime data is disconnected and hard to use. It's stuck in silos, locked in old systems, or missing important context. So we spend more time fixing the data problems than actually spend on driving innovation. So imagine running an airport where each of the terminals speaks a different language. It makes it really hard to run that airport efficiently. And that's how it is in shipping today. So we just don't need smarter AI. We need better connected data that everyone can use. I wish this was history, but I think this is still the daily life of many ships. Cruise deals with hundreds of handwritten, repeated, and disconnected checklists, just to keep things running and stay compliant. It's slow, it's easy to make mistakes, and the information is hidden from those who could use it to improve. Imagine if we could turn all that paper into useful insights. And we have a problem on board as well. The onboard systems, for instance, the bridge, safety, or engine, all speak different languages. And every new app needs a custom integration. And most of these systems, they lack reusable APIs, so every connection means new code, more cost, and vendor lock-in. And when you have more apps, you get more tangible architecture. And spaghetti architecture is the opposite of scalable. So the delusion is to create a data layer that integrates once and make it the data reusable across the systems. So I would say AI isn't held back by lack of modules necessarily. It's missing foundations that slows us down. There are no open standards, so our system can't talk to each other easily, preventing interoperability. Data is still siloed and messy, making it hard to train useful AI. And most onboard systems don't have APIs, so they can't easily share data or connect in real time. And we're missing the infrastructure to move data securely and efficiently from ship to shore. And until we fix these basics, AI will stay on the sideline, unfortunately, and not at the heart of maritime innovation. So, we have just seen how fragmented and frustrating the current reality is. But there's a shift. We don't need to be stuck here. We can design something better with smarter infrastructure that provides cleaner data and then supports intelligent automation. And if we get this right, we're not just cutting down the paperwork, we are potentially unlocking a new operating model for shipping. So let me introduce Telenor Maritime's digital ecosystem. It's designed to give you full control of your fleet's data, securely and in real time. It transforms scattered signals into strategic insights, enabling smarter decisions, faster operations, and new business value across your maritime operations. Maritime operations run on 3 types of data: sensor data from machines, human data from logs and checklists, and software from digital systems. These data rarely speak the same language. So when the data stays disconnected, it creates friction. And we can't automate. We can't get real insights or use AI effectively unless we know what happened, why, and in what context. So we solve this by bringing all data together in a common machine-human readable language. It doesn't replace your existing system, it connects them, making the data reusable and trustworthy. Let's look at temperature as an example. A temperature spike is just a number, unless we know it happened after an inspection about a loose pipe, and the ship is in port. By combining all data types, we turn isolated signals into real actionable insights. And unifying data isn't just a tech upgrade. It's a foundation for smarter decisions, faster response, less manual work, and real innovation across fleets. Instead of messy point-to-point integrations, all systems are raw signals are fed into one signal structured pipeline. Think of it as turning a dozen of noisy radio stations into one clear channel. Signals are cleaned, harmonized, and contextualized. We define what each signal means, its units, and whether it's safe, compliant, or alert-worthy. This layer combines data management, smart logic, and APIs. So you get clean, meaningful data without reprocessing. The data you decide is synced to shore, and with a set of open APIs, you have full control of vessel data, both on edge for real-time operations and on shore for fleet-wide analytics of various use cases. This is the use case we now have running for one of our customers. They use digital checklists for filling out arrival and departure. And this is then fed into the systems, which is then automatically uploaded to the digital logbook. The officer on the bridge then confirmed that it's correct arrival and departure date and time, and this is then used for the digital fuel reports, which is then automatically sent to the class society for validation. So the Telenor Maritime Digital Ecosystem connects data, AI, and applications across ship and shore, making operations safer, smarter, and more efficient. With the Edge API, data from crew, sensors, and third parties is collected and acted on in real time, right on the vessel. AI models run locally, enabling instant decisions without relying on the cloud. And clean contextual data flows secure to show, powering fleet-wide visibility and remote support. Crew input is part of the loop, ensuring AI insights are grounded on real-world experience. A flexible ecosystem with no vendor lock-in also accelerates innovation and compliance. And the result, smarter decisions, less manual work, and consistent insights on board and ashore. But in maritime, AI won't transform operations just by being smarter. It will do so by being better connected. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. No, please, I have a question for you. So thank you very much. This sounds fantastic. I mean, you are solving all the problems that you described with your system, so that's super. But my question is, so the standards that are needed for all these systems to communicate, or the interfaces, are they becoming standardized? Because you said there were no common APIs, and that was kind of part of the problem.
Yeah.
And then you come with the kind of the whole solution to this. But are we not just running into your solutions then, or is it open standards? If you haven't understand my question.
So it's a good question, and there's an initiative called IT for Maritime, what we are part of, and several companies that are represented here. And what we're trying to do is agree on these languages that we should put in place to exchange data. So we want to agree in the business to say there's like many standards out there that we potentially can use, but we want to agree on which standard to use for which use case. So there's an initiative now called IT for Maritime that everyone is welcome to join. It's an organization, open organization. And so we are supporting whatever standards that comes out of that organization.
Okay, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe something for the next conference to pick up. Thank you very much again. Okay, thank you. And now...
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see so many of you here. So I will have a slightly different perspective on AI, how you can use it, since I'm all about giving customer service, customer experiences, to maximize your revenue and decrease your cost, and give a good customer experience. There's no question about it today that AI is hot. It's hyped, and a lot of money is poured into it. But in reality, AI is an infant. It's a toddler. It's learning to walk. We are just trying to figure out what we actually can do with it. I've been around for a while, and in the late 90s, it was something called WAP, W-A-P. Wireless Application Protocol. It was hot. It was hyped. As soon as you came to a venture capitalist saying, I'm working with WAP, you got a lot of money. And it was a bubble, and it burst. But what happened? Well, today we have these. 2008, we got the iPhone. Do you know what actually makes it possible for you to communicate with your iPhone, not only calling? That's WAP. And I can see the same thing happening with AI. The bubble will burst. I don't know when, but it will burst. But at the end of the day, we will see a lot of useful applications using AI, but we won't be talking about AI. We are already using AI at Chorus. We provide our reservation system as managed service. That means that we take responsibility for cybersecurity, delivering it. We couldn't do that with AI, without AI. In customer service, you can enhance your customer service, you can be better. We heard this morning Niklas Mortensson from Stena Line, where you use it in the back office to be more efficient, reduce your bunker usage, and so on. Sales and marketing, we use it in sales and marketing. You saw our flash. I don't know if you realized it, but the narrator was AI generated and also part of the movie. You use it in communications. You create marketing material, you create other material, press releases, and you can use it for other things like crew introductions when you take delivery of a new vessel, or if you have a new sailor coming on board. But AI is complicated. We use it because we have a provider providing the cybersecurity framework where AI is integrated. We do not develop it ourselves. AI is generic, it's skill set. Our skill set is to create something that the market, the ferry market needs. There can never be a financial sound environment for us doing it alone. It will be too expensive for you. So we have to find partners, and that's what we do, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And that's something called agnetic AI, and hopefully you will understand what it is, otherwise you will have to come and talk to us in our stand. So, you can use it to take your communication with your clients to a new level. Personalized conversations. Today you have a lot of chatbots. They are scripted, so they essentially can only work in a certain way, and then you get stuck, and that is extremely frustrating. If you ever fly Finnair, there is a trick. If you talk to the chatbot in Finnish or English, it's a chatbot. But if you do it in Swedish, there is always a human in the other end, and you will get your problem solved. So, agnostic AI is intelligent. You can feel it as human. That means that you can't really think about, oh, I believe that this will be the answer. It's actually an answer with somebody thinking. That's the artificial intelligence. Travel planning, booking process, that's where you can use it. The big thing is that it is proactive. So usually if you have a chatbot, it's reactive. But proactive means that it also can contact you, suggest things based on your profile on social media, your customer profile in your system, and information that is available, which of course gives you a better experience. You can use it to upsell, which is the first thing you think about, but you can also use it to remind people about things. Hey, you're sitting at a restaurant now in Naples. The taxi to the airport will leave in 15 minutes. I think you should pay. If the airline can do that, that's actually good service. It can be like a butler, help you with a lot of things, not only ironing your newspaper, because the newspaper is on your phone, but you can direct steer flows on board. So if you have multiple bars, one bar is full because people tend to go where there is other people. You can use AI to see that and be a little bit reactive, say, okay, go to that bar and the beer will be a little bit cheaper. If you're traveling, you can point out different points of interest that you're passing. I'm a history freak, so I love, oh, there is an old fortress. Here's a little bit more information about that fortress. That will enhance my experience. It won't bring any more money, but I might stay awake and you will sell me another glass of red wine. The next thing is it can also be your concierge. So you have actually traveled. The ferry travel is done. And since you have made the booking, we know that I'm at the hotel, I should have arrived. We know that you didn't eat on board, silly person, but you didn't do that. So actually, the ferry operator can say, okay, welcome to the hotel, are you hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, we know that you like Chinese, but there is a really, really good Japanese restaurant close by. Oh, yeah, sounds good. Do you want me to make a reservation? Yes, please. Done. And this is in a dialogue, so it feels good. It feels like somebody is really thinking about you, taking care of you. It's not intrusive. And I know a ferry operator where put really big screens on board on their new ferry. And of course, the people responsible for the commercial on board wanted to have advertisements there. but they only use it to create the ambience, the feeling when you're sitting there. And I think that's important. As soon as you put AdWords out there, it's intrusive. And not the least, AI is not always enough. This artificial intelligence, you always need to get back to a human, so there always has to be a button. I can't understand you. Okay, you will talk to a human. That's really important. So I believe that AI in combination with humans for customer service is the best solution. That will give you good customer service, operational excellence, the customer journey, which I'm always talking about. You should think about the customer's journey, the whole journey, from the first contact to the last contact, will help you. And at the end of the day, you will earn more money. But there is a but. There's always a but. AI is expensive. It's extremely expensive. The power, the computer power you need to make this happen is huge. So today, it's still an infant, so it tries to lure you in. You might remember freeware. It was hot 5 years ago. Well, if you use it professionally, you need support, which means that you have to pay. So you really have to think about, if you step into something, do something, okay, what is the long-term support? Is this sustainable? Because if you do something and the product changes and there's no support and it's key to your operation, what will you do? So that's my message to you. Think carefully before you do something. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very interesting to listen to your. So I'm thinking, are these visions or is it here and now? What
Actually,
you just
what
showed.
I'm talking about now, diagnostic AI, it's here. We have it. We have a partner for it, and it's live.
And do you think we, as a consumers or passengers or whatever, are we ready for it?
Not all of us. It's something that grows on you because, you know, you have the scripted chatbots. So before you actually start using the chatbot that you see there, you believe it's, oh, that's a stupid one.
Yeah.
So it will be a slow process, but there you have the other side of it where it's actually innovative. It starts talking to you.
Yeah.
It initiates something. Mm-hmm. And yes, in that
So
case,
we
I
are
think they're there for it.
the early adapters are there now, and then the rest of us will follow maybe when it's.
As usual.
Yeah, as always. Okay, thank you, Anders. Thank you so much. Very good.
Thank you, Claes, and thank you to Interferry for having invited us one more time on this floor, and good morning to all of you. My name is Maria Garbarini. I'm the head of Passenger Ship Excellence Center in Rina, and today I'm together with Danilo. Actually, he is not Luca.
Danilo.
But you know, cyber guys sometimes disappear, but he is as well a super expert in IT and cybersecurity. And we are all, both of us together on the stage today because I don't want to bother you just by talking about the cybersecurity as class perspective, but I'd like to shift the conversation to resilience and business continuity as one of the key strategic pillars for ferry operation. Because in 2025, a ferry is no longer just a boat, it's a floating digital system, as we are discussing in this panel, and a system of systems, and the continuity of operation is strictly linked to the integrity, availability, and security of OT and IT system on board. Remembering that IT, meaning information technology, so those devices, software, and associated network with a focus mainly on data as information, on the contrary of onboard technologies, OT, that are those system devices for control and monitoring of onboard processes. Of course, we have mandatory requirements dealing with that. From 2021, company has to assess the cybersecurity according to the ISM code. And we have a new building from 2024, mandatory requirement from IACS unified requirements for assessing cybersecurity by involving all the stakeholders, so ship owners, third-party equipment makers, and verifiers, and shipyards, and managing the cyber risk for the whole ship life cycle. But some systems are outside the mandatory requirements and maybe are some disruption can be even not really cyber-related, but in any case, they have an impact on business continuity. So what Arena is advocated to carry out is by using the traditional structured approach for assessing the cyber risks, so by starting with the inventory of the onboard system, by carrying out risk evaluation based on the key elements of a risk evaluation, so likelihood of occurrence and the impact of consequences. And we are lucky that because we have very good guidance already in place, like IAC's recommendation 171, giving guidance on how to take into account connectivity, complexity of system, and the impact of human factor. But we would like to add something more, that is the business impact analysis. So maybe Danilo, can you explain more in detail what does it mean business impact analysis?
Of course, thank you. Business impact analysis is a process inside a methodology described by some ISO International Standard Organization standard, which is the 22301. It can be applied to any kind of business, and so also to the ship system. The BIA aims at determining which is the maximum tolerable period of disruption for any kind of disruption that may happen in a ship in this case. So after determining this maximum tolerable period of disruption, you have to define your objective, your recovery time objective, how many time you need to recover the disruption, and the process is completed by a complete mapping of the processes dependency in terms of the what happens if the system A falls down and then the system B and C fall accordingly to the disruption. The consequence of this is to create some continuity plans for which any arrangement is made, any countermeasures is put in place in order to recover the process as soon as possible, certainly much faster than without any business continuity, or I can say any operations continuity countermeasures in place, reducing any kind of inconvenience, any kind of trouble to the system that can impact the safety, security, but also well-being and pleasure of passengers on board, we can say. And so the operations continuity arrangements go far beyond safety and security objectives related to OT and IT systems, but can affect, positively of course, the shops and entertainment system, spas, and other facilities on board, thus improving well-being and pleasure, as I said. So, what is the approach we are proposing? To bring together in a complete framework, integrated framework, the arrangements required mandatorily by IACS regulations, recommendations 171, unified requirements, and ISO 22301 and related guidelines. This is the way to enhance value for the assets.
And since the theme of our conference is connections, I do believe that connection means also working together as an industry for facing the tomorrow challenges, like the business impact. So this is something that we would like to propose. This is just an initial idea for your thoughts, is to have a platform for sharing information about possible threat very specific for the ferry industry. This is something really similar to what done for the Ferry Safe mentoring program. So it's so important sharing data. Of course, in this case, it has to be done in an anonymous way, so classification societies can play a role in granting anonymization of data, but having very specific data for this sector, so understanding which are the common threats can really help us in understanding faster any problem and in building up a procedure and best practices. Because we are discussing, and every year at the Interferry we are discovering we are building more and more safe and sustainable and innovative ferries. They are very precious and very valuable assets, so we need to protect them. Many of you are involved in public transportation. We need to protect our reputation, and we can do that if we are able to have a system on board that can withstand disruption, having onboard computer-based system that can be restored in time, as described by Danilo, if something happens, independently if it is a cyber or a not cyber event. So, as usual, I do believe that the ferry industry can be at the forefront for starting this new approach. And so, hoping that it was some food for thought for you, let's work in together for analyzing the business impact.
Very good. Thank you very much. So, Danilo Diomede, you are when you are looking at this, and you work for other industries as well, right? It's not only for shipping, or?
No, I'm working with a branch of RINA related to assessment, auditing, and certification services, which are widespread across the industries. I'm working mainly in IT governance and cybersecurity, which you know are widespread topics for.
Yeah. But my question was really: do you think that shipping is a bit behind on this issue, or compared to other industries?
It's really competitive, and it goes along with critical infrastructure such as ports, such as logistic companies. So it's a kind of glue linking many industries.
And then maybe, I don't know who asked you to answer this question, but should this be more regulated? Should we bring IMO into this discussion, or is IAX enough, so to say, or what we do? What's your view?
We are at the beginning of the process, as I said, because this is something coming into force, but we are experiencing that in this case, companies are looking for starting well before having in place some mandatory requirements. Someone that already experienced some disruption, of course, but it is anyway even a way for structuring in the best way possible your company. So even if step by step, it is something helping a lot companies in undertaking this role. So it comes before the mandatory requirements.
Maria and Danilo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jonah Voss. I'm an account executive for Helm operations within the European region. And if you haven't heard of Helm before, we make a fleet management software to help track your maintenance, compliance, schedule your crew, and schedule your vessels. We're very gracious to Interferry for having us today, and excited to be doing a joint presentation with Ferryhawk.
Hi, I'm Liz Hemmons. I'm the CEO of Ferryhawk, a reservation and ticketing software as a service provider. So at Ferryhawk and Helm, we believe that a ferry can only operate as safely and efficiently as the data that powers it. Yet in our industry, we see again and again the same operational gaps, systems that don't talk to each other, or in the theme of the conference, systems that aren't connected. And the result is manual workarounds, duplicated effort, and in some instances, serious non-compliance. Sometimes the most powerful system that you might implement is not actually a new piece of technology, but the connection of two existing systems.
So today we're going to talk about how Helm and Ferryhawk have tackled common problems by connecting booking, scheduling, operational, and maintenance systems. Using interconnected systems will improve efficiency, productivity, regulatory reporting, and help avoid revenue impacting mistakes. So our integration focuses on delivering 4 very practical outcomes: linking live passenger check-ins with logbook synchronization, flagging potential clashes between maintenance and planned sailings, forecasting maintenance to avoid unexpected downtime during busy seasons, and ensuring crew rosters match the vessel's operational schedule. And now I'm going to pass it off to Liz, who's going to introduce you to a case study we did.
Thanks, Jonah. So rather than giving you a technical run-through on how the integration might work, we're going to present to you a case study showing the connection live and explaining the effect that it's had on the business. So the operator runs a busy RoPax service to Moreton Island, located off the coast of Queensland in Australia. They carry around 260,000 passengers a year, but it's quite seasonal, with 60% of those travelling in just 4 months of the year. They also land on a beach, as you can see behind me, so everything needs to be mobile, flexible, and efficient. So let's start with a simple but very serious issue that the operator faced: passenger numbers. So you can see behind me, the operator was using 3 ways to count and record passenger numbers. So on the left, we have the booking system. In the centre, we have a manual count that they were using to keep track of passengers as they're boarding. And on the far right, we have their digital logbook where they were recording these passenger numbers. So as you can see, the numbers don't match. So for this departure, how many passengers were on board? As we know, this isn't just messy admin, it can be a serious liability. In the event of an emergency, there's confusion on the exact number of passengers on board, so the crew cannot account for everyone, and in a worst case scenario, provide that correct number to emergency services. The master can't have confidence in the logbook, and it also raises the question on how the discrepancy arose. So, are there people on board that haven't actually purchased a ticket? In reality, this is an example of how workarounds introduce human error. So, what's the solution? Make the logbook the single source of truth by directly connecting the Ferryhawk booking system with Helm Connect digital logbook. As you can see behind me on the left, we have a live check-in. So there are some more arrivals coming through, and they're conducting a mobile check-in on a mobile device and verifying passenger numbers and checking them in. And in a moment, you'll see how this data will directly flow through to the Helm digital logbook. So this means that the booking record, the check-in data, and the operational logbook all match. Compliance reporting can be generated with confidence. There's more efficiency for staff because there's no back and forth about passenger numbers. And there's trust across the organisation, from ticketing to the bridge, as everyone is working from the same truth. So we can see that number come through now. Alrighty, so the next problem that we faced was the operation was facing scheduling issues where major maintenance was scheduled at the same time as departures, which we know would result in last-minute cancellations, reduced revenue, and vessel optimization. So often the optimal result could be achieved, but it just required a higher level of communication between the systems or between staff. So to solve this, we integrated Ferryhawk scheduling data with Helm Connect to automatically check for conflicts when adding or editing scheduled departures. So you can see behind me, there's a scheduler working in the booking or ticketing office, and they're making an alteration to the schedule. Now, the person in the scheduling office often wouldn't talk to the maintenance team, so they're going to make an alteration that's going to conflict with a dry dock period. So obviously that's going to be an alteration that's not going to work. So rather than relying on them to pick that up, the system is going to notify them that they can't make that alteration, and they'll then find an alternative way to complete that departure.
Okay, great. So the third problem we tried to tackle was seasonal hours and how they impact our planned maintenance programs. So in a highly seasonal business, maintenance can't be scheduled on a simple fixed hours basis. You all know that hours accumulate very differently between peak season and off season. So without planning ahead, you can run some pretty big risks. One, scheduling a service in the middle of a busy period, making it unfeasible to complete during small downtime windows, falling behind during a busy season when hours rack up very quickly, as well as over-servicing during our low season. So, like most ferry operators, Moreton Island Adventures have a big advantage. They publish their schedule 12 months in advance. So we're able to take that data to forecast future operating hours to overlay our potential maintenance schedule onto our known published operational schedule. So the integration between the two systems allows us to bring departments together in Helm's planner view in order to view potential conflicts and set up a plan. So from here we can make decisions around fitting the planned maintenance into feasible timeframes, assigning certain sailing times to vessels that don't have maintenance conflicts, or reconfiguring our sailing schedule for the vessel that has maintenance that needs to be done. So really the key here is keeping the schedules visible for everyone who needs to make informed decisions months in advance, and avoid the chaos of unplanned downtime during high revenue earning periods especially. So where we're going from here in the last kind of part of our integration that we're working on together is the objective of tackling crew scheduling inefficiencies and gaps. So there's a lot of peace of mind in knowing as much as you can about your operation, and your crew schedule and availability are no exception to that. So similar to our operational and maintenance overlays, we're bringing the ability to overlay vessel and crew schedules into one view. So we want to answer questions such as what's the vessel schedule and what's the crew schedule, but as well, is the vessel schedule crewed correctly with the appropriate certified crew that need to be there during that time? And how do we handle one-off instances in our schedule that are more variable, like a book charter or a new sailing based on high demand? And the answers to all of these will be accessed in one view here, where we can see schedules and identify the uncrewed sailings and notify the responsible parties to make sure that they can fit the crew into the correct schedule for the vessel.
You want to finish?
Yeah, just quickly, I'll finish. So it cannot be underestimated how automated integration between booking and maintenance systems can improve efficiency and safety within the business. At Helm and Ferryhawk, we believe an integration like this is no longer optional, but having the ability to connect systems and share data is a requirement of any modern application.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I have a question here before we let you go. So first of all, I mean, you are from two different parts of the world, right? So how did you find each other, so to say? How does this collaboration started?
Helm has a representative in Australia as well, so
okay.
I connected with him, but we also operate in lots of different parts of the world as well.
Okay, thank you. More importantly, so these solutions that you come up with, where do you get the ideas? Where do you get the input from? I mean, how does this process look like when you pick a problem to solve?
Typically, it's always coming from the customer. So I think both of us develop our programs primarily based on customer feedback. And so when customers come to us with unique problems to them or problems that they feel other operators have as well, we take those insights and then we try to develop solutions either on our own, separately, or together in order to connect the systems.
Do you also look at other industries?
Helm Operations doesn't. We're primarily exclusively focused on the maritime sector, but I don't know about Ferryhawk.
Yeah, no, we are also exclusively in the maritime sector, but definitely for inspiration.
Yeah, maybe sometimes we're too much in our own industry. What do you think?
I think there's still a lot to do in this industry.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to stay focused on this one.
Listen, Jonah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have a few minutes for questions, and let me see what we have. I'm sorry if we can't get through all of you in the panel now, so we just have to look at what's going on here. Anders, when will AI be at the point where the customer will believe it's a real human responding and doesn't hang up?
Yeah, that's a good one. To be honest, I think with the AI I was talking about, we are there, but it will always be key to have the button to press when AI can't solve it.
Okay, so that's right. There was something for Renske here. Maybe you want to take a stab at that? You can use my mic.
Yes, I will. The question is, does your data provide any verification of presumed battery longevity? Well, actually, the batteries are designed for over 10 years, approximately 10 years usually. And we built our first electric ferries in 2018, so you're not there yet. But that's the thing of monitoring the batteries now, so we would prevent that they damage earlier than that. So the operation is adjusted if it's necessary.
Thank you. I think it's a very interesting development going on there. Liz, what do you do with the number from the clicker now? You have a data point that you just disregard, or what's happening to that? You fire the clicker man, maybe? Or?
The clicker is actually an example of a human workaround because they didn't have faith in the system. So they do away with the clicker and purely use the check-in system and scan to board.
Okay, thank you. More questions, please. Rina, can spoofing in shipping be avoided? You just talking to it and it will come on. Just speak into the microphone, please. Just take the microphone and
Ooh, thanks. If we refer to spoofing as a criminal changing its identity, simulating another one's identity, it can be avoided by a strong authentication in systems. Something like a multi-factor authentication and so on. If we refer to shipping spoofing, the mispositioning the ship in the sea, it's a problem that can be avoided with strong connections to the navigation systems, satellite systems. And it goes to another question I can read.
Please.
To by myself. How can the company ensure the cybersecurity of its vessels' operational OT systems, such as navigation and engine control, given the increasing risk of remote access attacks? While ships... Oh, where is it? I need to scroll.
While ships are so connected.
Okay. It is something that in the land side, I would refer to standards like IEC 62443, but I know that yours is 26 is referenced in some way to that kind of standards. IEC 62443, it's a product certification standard that gives specific requirements for single automation components and complete overall automation systems, such as navigation and so on, that shall be accomplished in order to reach several levels of security. Security level 1 to 4. And this is this can be a way to strengthen the cybersecurity aboard as the UR E26 requires as well.
Thank you. And Liz, there was a question for you there. Your system may really help with Interferry's sail-safe initiative to improve safety in the developing world where overloading and poor passenger counts are a real problem. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So passenger numbers are a challenge for all operators, and we're in lots of jurisdictions around the world, so we'd be open to working with them.
Thank you. And Marta, there's a question for you there also. is your concept of UDS actually unified namespace, mapping of names of different signals, or is there more to that? What steps should operators follow to reach a good UDS?
Yeah, so we do both. We do unifying namespace, but we add, it's much more to it than the contextualization, which is sort of providing more metadata, explaining what kind of signal it is, what is the sort of measurement, what is the thresholds it should be within. So a good starter of looking into getting a UDS or the standardization is to map out your signals that you think is important for your use cases to solve, and then look at, okay, how would you name those so they can actually be used across your fleet, and providing the necessary metadata for that. And we do that with our partners. We tap into the OT signals, and we get the metadata that's already in the OT signals, and then we enrich them with more when needed. So there's some groundwork needed to be done to look into the systems to see, of all those thousands of signals you have, which one do you need for the use cases you want to solve. So it's all use case based as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this has been a very interesting session. We've learned more about how to improve connectivity and how we can use the information much better while using AI, while also being very careful, of course, with the cyber threats that we see all the time. So a big thank you to the panel. Thank you so much.
Anytime, Marta.
Anytime, Marta.
Anytime, Marta.